morning, good afternoon or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. Today we're going to look at finding the area of a parallelogram. Now, what do I mean by a parallelogram? That's a set of parallel lines. The lines maintain the same distance apart all the time, they would never meet. And I've drawn in another set of parallel lines. And I'm going to highlight the shape enclosed there. Now that shape then is a parallelogram. And we're going to look at finding the area of that parallelogram. But first, let's look at the dimensions, the base and the height. Now that is the same, opposite sides are equal, and the height there is the same height throughout. Now I'm going to write the height in again. Now these two shapes are absolutely identical, and if I lift that and slide it along to there, a new shape is formed. Now, do you recognise that shape? It's a rectangle, and we know how to find the area of a rectangle. Normally we would say length times breadth, but here it would be base times height. So to find the area of a parallelogram, it is base times height. So that's the formula that we are going to use to work out the area of a parallelogram. Let's do some examples then. Now in the first one, can you see that the base would be 17 centimetres and the height would be 11 centimetres? So if you were asked to work out the area of that parallelogram, you would write down your formula. The area equals base times height. And then you would write down 17 times 11 because the base is 17 and the height is 11. Then you would do your calculation, 187 square centimetres. So there are three lines of working. You write your formula down, then you decide what is your base, what is your height, you put them into your formula, you do your calculation, and you remember that it is square units because it's an area. Now let's look at the second one. We would start by writing our formula down. It's a parallelogram. So the area of a parallelogram is base times height. Now we're given three bits of information here. There's an extra piece of information, and that's to check that you can select the correct information. What is the base and what is the height? Now, do you feel happy that the base is 9 and the height is 6? So we've got an extra piece of information, and what they're checking is that you can select the correct bits. Base is 9 and the height is 6. So let's put that into our formula. 9 times 6. Let's do our calculation. 54 square centimetres. Now, one last parallelogram to find the area of. Let's start by writing out our formula. The area of a parallelogram is base times height. Now, are you able to work out the base this time? The base actually is 10. So the base would be 10 and the height would be 4. Are you happy with that? Your base would be 10 and your height would be 4. And so we've got an extra bit of information. We've written our formula out. We know our base is 10 and our height is 4. So let's put that into our formula. And that would just be 40 square centimetres. And that's us finished. So when you're doing your examples, I want to see three lines of working. The formula first, then select your base and your height, put them in, and then do your calculation. And remember that it is square units. So in that example, 40 square centimetres. Okay, thank you.